So hi there, hope you're fine. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting subject. You know, uh, is what we see the reality, or is there a different reality from what we really experience? Otherwise, are we stimulating our own realities, our own subjective experience, based on our taste, likes, and dislikes? Ever since I was a child, I always was fascinated by our mind and its capacity, its possibility, potential to imagine things, to travel through time. Time travel has not yet invented, but with mind we can travel to any place. You can go to space, you can travel to America, you can just visit your friend, you can talk to your friends. So I always wondered whether our mind is what is it, or whether I am only the person who actually experienced these things, or rest of them all are fake. They don't have any mind. So, and then I fell in love, fell in love with neurology and science. It was quite years later, and then I began to ponder this question: whether what I see, what I experience, is real, right? Because I always see this. I always observe that people experiencing the same event have completely different experiences. They have different opinions, they have different experiences, they have a completely different reality. For example, just imagine you have 10 friends, right? And if you were to ask each of them, just to rate you, to give you some credits, some ratings based on their experiences, probably you would get completely different ratings based on their subjective experiences. Now my question is, you are the same person. You talk to them, you talk to these 10 people almost the same way. You behave the same way, they see the same thing, because you almost do the same thing to, almost every day. So they are seeing the same person, the same behavior, but they are having completely different experiences, and which means they are living different realities, and that give rise to different a question, whether my reality is real. Otherwise, if there are many realities, which one is right? That would be the reason why we say everyone has their own right, or everyone has their own truth, because we all have our own subjective experiences. According to science, neurology is right, because whatever that you see actually from the outside world, you receive information, and your brain processes that information based on your past experiences, based on your taste, dislikes, likes, and your memories, pain, struggle that you went through. So your brain processes information and gives you a scenario of what's happening, right? And then you use this present scenario to predict the future. Actually, our brain cannot see the whole picture. For example, right now, I'm talking to you, and probably you are looking at my face, and if I were to ask you, what is the picture, what is the picture that you actually, I'm sorry, there is a little disturbance. Okay, fine. So if I were to ask you, probably you might be seeing all those pictures and books on the shelf, and there is a guy sitting there. I mean, on the bookshelf there is a book. It's yeah, My God, I should not have forgotten it. Jack Ma, right? Jack Ma. Okay, Jack Ma. Okay, so you would recognize when you see his face, you would recognize him, right? But probably you may not have recognized him since I started this talk, because you know your brain cannot see the complete picture. What your brain sees, brain can only focus on certain things based on the size, color, and your expectations. In psychology, we call this 7 plus or minus 2, which means only 7 plus or minus units, which means 9 or 5 units of information. That's a maximum amount of information or units of information that your brain can process. Beyond that, it's not possible. So we actually receive millions of thousands of actually stimuli or informations in 1 second, but we only process 7 plus or minus 2, which means 5 or 9, and some people maybe it's 5, some people may have it's a 4 units. So we only actually process these 5 or 4 or 2 units of information. Now imagine this. Every second we receive millions of information, millions of stimuli, but among these millions of stimuli, among these millions of information, we select 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 to focus. And that's why our reality is completely different from other people, because we only see what we want to see. We only see what we want to see. We don't see what is necessarily to be seen. Otherwise, we choose to see the certain aspects of events, certain aspects of a person. For example, the first time when you fell in love with a woman, probably you liked her hair and eyes, and then soon after quite a while, then you recognize that her voice isn't really good, and then you began to see all these faults, right? So what happened to that faults when you saw her for the first time? Because you were in love. You were in love, so you were excited, you were happy, and you were busy going out with her, and therefore you didn't see those faults. You only saw those good aspects, and as you gradually, as you lose those love and those after a honeymoon trip, you begin to lose that kind of love and intimate romantic relationship with that person, and then you begin to observe a lot of different things or the faults that you have never seen in her. So our brain processes only a few information, just a 5 or 9, and based on this information, we predict the future. We create a story. So this is what happens. So what happens is, your friends, 10 of your friends have rated you completely differently because your friends all are seeing different aspects of the same realities. They're not seeing the same thing, but they choose to focus certain aspects rather than the whole thing, because our brain just cannot see the whole picture. It requires tremendous effort to see all that is happening. And even if you try hard, you might exhaust, because it's, your brain needs much energy in order to do that. Just if I were to ask you, what's 452 into 362, probably what you would do is you would take the phone and calculate it, because it's difficult. Your brain doesn't want to do that. So what you do is you take a shortcut. That's what we do. We take shortcuts. That's what our brain does almost all the time. We take shortcuts. So what we do is we choose selectively, based on our past experiences and memories and likes and dislike tastes that we have developed over time, and we use that aspects to select these information, and then we select those information and create a story, and that's what we see as a reality. Now the problem is, there are millions of information that you're receiving in every second, and if you cannot see and if you cannot process those information, the problem is you're going to create a different story. Otherwise, you're going to create a wrong story. That's for sure. You're going to, create a wrong story. So what do we have to do? So, before we go into that answer, I also would love to tell you another scenario. Okay, so the just imagine the problem of having this limitation, that we can only it's not actually a limitation. This is a really good thing because your brain can easily process information. It can actually save a lot of energy, and thereby you don't need to do a lot of hard work. So it's a really good work, but this also gives a lot of headache. The headache is, for example, we experiences our we all have a personal experiences. The problem is when we have a personal experience, we create a story. For example, something is happening right now and you look at it, and then you create a story based on your understanding, based on your past experiences, based on your taste, your likes, your dislikes, and based on how well your brain processes that information. And if you have another friend with you just experiencing the same thing, probably he or she is going to have a different reality. So the danger of often having such an experience is that we often misinterpret the information because we don't have the whole picture. If we don't have the whole picture, we misinterpret. That means almost all of your friends give you the wrong ratings, right? Because they don't see the whole picture. This is why, especially people who are, reserved, lonely, and people who are very introvert, they are often seen, as not very sociable persons. They are actually sociable because I am actually an introvert person. And I really love to talk. I really love to make conversations, and I really love to make jokes. But what I often do is, it's for me. It's I love a lot of privacy, and it takes me much effort, I think, to make a conversation because of a shyness or fear or certain things like that, and so. So, sorry for the interruption. So there is okay. So anyway, so what we were talking about? Yeah. So, your friends may have a different experiences. I'm sorry, I just lost that content. I'm extremely sorry for that because there was an interruption. My father called me for something. Okay, anyway, so these two friends have completely different experiences because they choose to see different things, right? And your friends actually, create a completely different give you completely different ratings because they actually see different aspects of the same qualities, different aspects of the same behaviors, different aspects of the same person, and that's why they give you different ratings. Now the danger is, I lose the subject every time and I just come back to it. So the danger of actually making, otherwise creating such a judgment, or having such a personal experience or subjective experience is that personal experience is that we often misjudge people. We misjudge people. We sometimes hate people because what they have done in the past, or what they do over and over, because we don't completely see the whole picture, so we soon misjudge them. Just imagine your friends are talking, and then suddenly somebody just said something about you, right? And then you think, my God, that she is gossiping or he's gossiping. You have that imagination because you're creating a story out of these small pieces of information. And that in turn, push you to create a sudden misjudgment. We often do that. Almost every time we do this, we misjudge people. This is why we cannot often create a better relationship with our spouses. This is why we cannot create a better relationship with our family members or friends. Because we misjudge. We miss the point. We miss the whole picture, and we take the half of the picture, or the quarter part of the picture, and we create a story. Now, we create a story based on our personal experience with that same person. So that's the danger of having a personal subjective experience. So what I suggest is, every time we will be talking about how we can actually, make a better judgment using conscious information analysis. But before that, we'll be looking at it tomorrow. But today, I would like to close this talk by saying that instead of just jumping into a judgment, just wait for a moment. Try to see the whole picture. Try to see what kind of situation that the person is in. How does that person feel right now? Is he having a bad emotion? Is he going through a bad time? Or or am I seeing the whole picture, or the half of the picture? Or so just look at the scenario, look at the event, look at the person, instead of just creating a judgment at the first sight when you see something. And then slowly analyze that information. Look for better alternative informations, if there is anything. Ask for people, and then make a judgment. And soon you will be a person who is liked by many people, because you don't create a misjudgment, and thereby you can be happier, right? Because you don't need to worry about other people, because now you are actually seeing the whole picture. Thereby you don't need to worry about anything, because nobody is conspiring against you. They are having just their own reality. So next time when you think that somebody is talking bad about you, something, or somebody is really feeling different to you, or indifferent, or misbehaving with you, just wait for a moment and try to get the full picture, and then make a judgment. So have a nice day. Thank you for watching.